Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and if it sounds like my voice isn't getting much better, that's because I'm still having some... yeah, it's still a problem. Now, real quick, I just turned up the gain on my microphone a little bit as per a request to do so. But I'm going to level with you guys. My gain is already near maximum, and I don't know how much more I want to turn it up, at least not without buying a sound suppressor. So let's agree, yeah, that where I'm at is probably just fine. So that's where I'm at on that. So okay, we're at classic soundtrack. Alright, so, pardon me, the build that I'm going to do today, I think it's funny that this is brought up, but someone had brought up that there were some certain arcana that they just had no clue how to use, and every time they used it, they basically lost. And one of the arcana that they brought up was Blurring Falconry, and I find that to be an interesting one, because Blurring Falconry is one of those arcana that I pick when I'm just in the mood to win. And there are certain aspects to Blurring Falconry that I think are worth bringing up. But first, let's go ahead and pick ourselves a build format. Do I want to go critical hit, damage, utility, somewhere in the middle with all of that? I think I'm going to go with the utility robe, because we have ourselves an opportunity to do a high tempo build. So now the question becomes, what other multi-use arcana can I use that'll get me a decent amount of damage? Because we've got Blurring Falconry to do the work of high damage, or not high damage, control. So now what I need is something a bit more damaging. And right off the bat, I would say, yeah, Flame Cleaver could probably do the job. But then I would want to be changing the signature to that, and well, I mean, if I'm being real honest, I'm not sure what exactly the problem is with that. I'm just looking to see what my other options are. Because we're going to have to make sure that whatever choice we make is a worthwhile one. Because yes, it might actually be smarter to run a different multi-use arcana as the signature and run Blurring Falconry as the standard. But I'm just going over my choices to make sure of what I want to do with that. Okay, I think I have it figured out. I think what I'm going to do is I am going to run Flame Cleaver as the signature, Blurring Falconry as the standard, then I will, of course, run Thunderline. And because I have 2 straight line attacks, I think the best option for the basic is that. Alright, and if we're all on the same page with that, let's real quick look over our relic, make sure that this is what we want to go with. Now, another thing I could do is I could run the Awe Robe for the slightly better critical hit chance, the much better critical hit damage, and then run Roxel's Pendulum. That's 10% cooldown. Now, what is the Tempo Robe's cooldown? 15%. So what's more important? Slightly more cooldown or slightly more critical hit chance? What do you think, buddy? Cecil's over there just throwing out his opinion. But I think we're gonna do the tempo method. I think cooldowns is a little bit more effective. And then of all of the critical hit boosting relics out there, this is probably the best one to take. Because most of our hits in general are going to come from ranged attacks. Now, I don't want to use Chaos Visor because, one, it offers less critical hit opportunities than Analytical Monocle, and that's before taking into account that this only works with arcana that count as true projectiles. And here's the thing that you probably didn't notice. Even though we know how this acts, it's actually not a projectile. If you look at the very bottom of the info page on Flame Cleaver, you'll notice that it's got that little symbol that just looks like a wave of fire. That's the symbol indicating that it's a projectile attack. You'll notice for Blurring Falconry, it does not have that at all. Meaning that while Flame Cleaver counts as a projectile, Blurring Falconry counts as an and technically Air Spinner counts as a projectile as well. So Analytical Monocle will not only give us a better and completely unfettered critical hit boost, but it's going to do so for... Well, no, I just said it. It's an untethered critical hit boost. It's going to work for all of our Arcana. Singing Bowl will do the same, but it's only for one Arcana at a time. This actually makes sure that all of your attacks are critical hit, but we would need evasion for that. And Tapping Glove is actually, what is it, a 15% critical hit modifier? 20%. But it only works after you've thrown out your basic ones. So I think Analytical Monocle is about the best we're gonna get there. So yeah, this run is dedicated to the person that wasn't sure how to get Blurring Falconry to work. Just keep in mind that if I lose this run, it means I'm an idiot and I don't know how it works either. Or that I just got overwhelmed and I'm trying to play the game while sick, so, you know, form your own conclusion from that. Oh no, I don't want to do a randomized build. But I think for this build, considering what we have, we're going to want to start with Zeal. And that's mostly because she's going to resist our damage types pretty heavily, so I would rather just get her out of the way. And even though Atlas is kind of the boogeyman for me, I would actually rather see him show up later because I have so many wind-based spells. I will get neither of those things happening. Well, no, I will. I'll get Zeal. I can't talk today. Ugh. As I said, I'm still kind of sick, so... How much health do you fuckers have? Come on. So, what you're probably noticing is that I'm using Blurring Falconry as a method to start the fight. The reason for that is because it has very low damage, but it's a very fast-moving spell that covers a lot of area. Meaning that what you've got when you're using Blurring Falconry is essentially a control spell. And that is very much how I use it. I just send the birds in and let them do their thing. So the thing to remember is that the birds will... Oh, there are two things here that I want. Well, don't mind if I do. Is that the birds from Blurring Falconry, once they hit a target, will essentially focus down on that target. So they'll spend most of their time swooping, looping, and hitting one target, and anything else they hit will be incidental. Which, if you're just aiming to strike at a group, hey, no problem. So the whole point of Blurring Falconry, at least if you ask me, is to essentially keep your enemies locked down, trying to fight off a swarm of angry, whizzing birds, while you use other things to keep them there, to keep poking at them. Luxury handbag is probably not the right answer, considering that I don't have a lot of stuff upgraded right now, but I think it will be the right answer in the long term. So what we're trying to do now is we're trying to get more money. Because if I could afford both Dragon Arc and the Thunderline upgrade, that would be particularly nice. And what you just noticed there was what happens when you have bad aim. Blurring Falconry will go out and basically hit nothing. And if it doesn't hit anything, it doesn't cause the other falcons to whiz around. And if the other falcons are whizzing around, or aren't whizzing around, then you're just not doing your job right now, are you? I mean, I don't know if that's really gonna help, but I'll take it. There we go. Now, to me, using Blurring Falconry seems really easy, but if you're not used to using ranged attacks, or you just haven't put a lot of thought into how it works, I can see why it would come off as being rather tricky to use. And no, that's not me trying to make some sort of weird flex. I actually get why this spell is difficult for some. for some people, pardon me. So one thing Blurring Falconry is particularly good at is locking enemies down in a pattern of hit stun, which is particularly good against bosses because you just use that to keep them in a perpetually stunned state while you set up other combos. Alright, well I can see that we're about to get the upgrade for Air Spinner, which is nice. Is she also going to... Yes, she is actually going to upgrade the Falcons. I'm honestly surprised. That's the first time she's actually been just genuinely helpful. At least in a long time. But we're not going to upgrade the Falcons right away because if either Nocturne or Dr. Song is here, I would like to trade that out first before I take the upgrade. Okay, that definitely could have gone better. Turns out I made the right choice. That is Dr. Song. So we are going to go ahead and... Actually, let's activate the boss room first so we have an easier time getting around. Now, let's go talk to the doctor. We'll give her our old Blurring Falconry. Get ourselves a beautiful relic. I love seeing that. Now we'll come back here and get the upgraded Blurring Falconry. Now we need to try to find our resident relic seller. So I suppose to put it a slightly different way, if you're having trouble using Blurring Falconry, don't think of it as one of your main combat methods. Think of it as more of a control method, because what you're doing is you're sending out your pet Bloodwing style to just sow some chaos. We definitely take that. And I'm wondering if the Permafrost Cube would be a good idea or not. I'm thinking, considering how frequently we're landing hits, with more chances to proc status effects, it wouldn't be a bad idea. Alongside the Ring of Reserves, I mean, we've pretty much got our relics set, it looks like. Look at that. We already have 10 relic slots taken up. Well, some of these we can stand to get rid of, though. Like Wings of Icarus, we don't need that for anything. Now, for the uninitiated, what Wings of Icarus does is it makes it so that whenever you knock an enemy into a pit, it means you recover a little bit of health. Problem is, I really do mean a little bit of health. I believe it's like 2 health per enemy that you knock into a pit, and that's a pretty middling amount, even before you take into consideration the idea, yes, I will grab that, at least temporarily, even before you take into consideration the idea that there aren't really any battlegrounds with pits with the retro floor plan active. Oh man, immediate dead end. Just doing great here. No thank you. Sorry, I'm not a fan of Permafrost Bulwark. So as you can see, I am leading most fights off with the birds in order to ensure that. God, I'm getting all the great freebies today. In order to ensure that there is enough combat to keep things kind of off my back, and then I'm throwing out my other spells to try to wipe out what I can from a distance. And then I'm going in to mop things up with my closer range stuff. I may want the Token of Doom. Yeah, there's nothing here I want. Now, if I find an electric spell like Dragon Circuit that has multiple uses, I will definitely dive into that, but as of right now, not so much. Greater cooldowns and movements, or greater cooldown reduction and movement speed? Why not? And then, yes, we'll grab the Token of Doom in hopes that we find something particularly good from Nox. Anything good here? Kind of. add that to the pile of status effect causing engines that I have. See, what I really want to work with that is the Hunter's Stiletto. Oh, geez. How did that... What? How did they all miss? I was expecting it clobbered. Oh, pardon me. No, I don't want any of that. Hopefully, you're understanding what exactly I'm getting at with the birds. I don't think you have anything I want. Mostly thanks to the idea that I don't really want to slow down my movement speed. I know some people are okay with that, and typically I am too. It's just I don't really feel like I get much reward out of the silver spinning top. And feel free to be the first one in the comments to tell me how wrong I am about that, but it's just personal feeling. I never said I was right, only that that's my feeling. But also, I don't think this is the right build to take advantage of that. Actually, it kind of would be, now that I look at it again. But I think I'm okay as I am. But typically, when I think of the builds that are good for the silver spinning top, admittedly, yes, this should be one of them. As it's either spells with a lot of... It's either built with a lot of rapid cast spells, or it's builds like a good fueled berserk build, where the activation speed of your basic is directly tied into how quickly you can get work done. But the real reason why I typically don't take the silver spinning top is because I'm so used to how your spells fire off normally that it just throws me off. So while simultaneously acknowledging that, yeah, silver spinning top is good, I'm also telling you there why it's not necessarily my thing. And that's because I'm used to the timing of how things work out normally. That time I got clobbered. Ooh. Okay, this I have to pick up. Will it be more useful than Arc Sphere? Almost indefinitely. Like, there's really no way that it couldn't be, considering what this what this run is based around. Admittedly, this is probably one of the best high tempo builds I've put together, just because everything functions so well with everything that I've picked up. Like, this is a very highly synergistic build. And, you know, I'm very happy with it. Now, I'd like to point out that just because... Oh, baby. You know I want that. Well, bye, Icarus Wing. Oh, we went through all this stuff already? Jeez, that was quick. So, I suppose to reiterate my point, the things that you use Blurring Falconry for, you use it to control mobs, and again, for big combos against bosses. Like, I find its usefulness against bosses to be especially a strong USP. USP standing for Unique Selling Point, by the way. Take that as you will, but I find... Sweet, got up buttoned again. You'd think after so much time of using this controller, I would be used to the intricacies of the D-pad by now, but no, apparently not. Wait until I have at least 2 castings of that back. I do feel fortunate everything in this run came together. Even though I am recording while sick, I still feel like I'm doing a pretty good job. God damn it, delicate D-pad. Why are you making me throw things in directions I don't want to throw them in? There we go. Alright, on to Shu, who I still feel is the hardest boss. Asterisk. The asterisk is of course there to mean outside of third phase Sura. Ow. Okay, Shu just kicked my ass this time. God damn. Alright, and we are now up to the final boss. So, really? You're gonna sell me Arc Sphere when I already have Arc Sphere? This isn't even a we have Arc Sphere at home, it's the same spell. Yeah, take that, you silly woman. Alright, thanks a lot, controller. You're still doing me proud. Oh, that was a mistake. That was not smart. Wait, what? Pretty sure I dodged that, but okay. Okay, game, whatever you say. Alright, not a bad victory if I do say so myself, and I hope I was able to elaborate a little bit as to why I like Blurring Falconry so much. So a couple of things did come up in comments while I was essentially spending all of last night sleeping. And that is that one, someone is very curious as to how I know which relics to choose to go with which spells. Which I think also pairs well into the topic of how I divide out the spells in my mind. Basically, elaborating on my picking process. And honestly, that's not a bad topic to go into, and I'm kind of surprised I haven't already. Or if I have, it was so long ago that I don't remember it. So this might be a good time to once again bring up the idea of kind of tutorializing my thought process on Wizard of Legend. And it's something that I had planned on doing a while ago, and then life got in the way, but hey, it might be worth revisiting, just going over how I think about the game, what sorts of thought processes I use, which relics I like to use with what. It doesn't sound like a bad idea, so maybe expect to see something like that in the near future. So, don't worry, I've got enough on my plate as is. There's plenty of content coming down the road, so be looking for that, and I look forward to being able to share it with you. In the meantime, I want to thank you guys for continuing to watch and support. I really do appreciate you guys spending some of your free time with me. It means a lot to me. As per usual, go through the fun time YouTube 5-step. I hope you have a fantastic day or night wherever you may happen to be, and I'll catch you in the next one. My name is Dark Sage Walker, and I need some cough medicine. Later.